November 20th, 2008, my whole life exploded. Our middle child, my youngest son, passed away. And there I was, 47 years old, and everything was destroyed. My whole life was just done at that point. It was, where do I go from here? My name is Gary Estes, and this is my story. My story starts with, I was just raised in just the as normal of a situation as you could ever want. My parents were together, stayed together, are still together right now. I had brother, sister. We always went to church. My mom stayed home, and I was raised in the church. We were every Sunday. You were in church. We went to visit my grandparents in Oklahoma. We'd go to church there if we were there on Sunday. It was solid going to church. But as I got older, I did not. I didn't act right at all. I really was very far out there, and I didn't follow any of the things that I had been taught. And but still, I was blessed. Still, things went my way. And then I got married to the best girl I could imagine, and then led her in the same direction that I was. Just pulled her away from what she knew that she should be to that. And then we had kids. We had a boy, and then another boy, and then a little girl. And it was just great. It was just great. But I still was not doing what I was supposed to. My boys went to daycare. And they came home one day and said, how come we don't ever pray before we eat like we pray at daycare? And that led us to say, hey, okay, well, maybe we need to square this around and get into church. So we started going to church, and immediately there was a change. And I knew I had been a believer before. I had believed, but I didn't really understand that I had a part in it. I had this new thing where I was, we were right on. We were participating. We were involved in the church. We were doing everything. And then somehow I just started to slide out, but I knew that I was saved. I was filled with the Spirit. So it was kind of like I felt like I had a hedge of protection around me. And, however, it was all going to be good because God was going to take care of me. 2008, my whole life exploded. Our middle child, my youngest son, passed away. And God, I guess you'd say mad at God, but it was more spiteful toward God. It was, I started drinking a lot, and I just felt like, you think you want to hurt me? I will hurt myself. I knew that he loved me and that I was hurting him by hurting myself, but I didn't care. And it was, seriously, it was so stinking awful of just the whole thing. And, I just wallowed in it. And one day I was taking a shower, and that was where I cried, because that was where I was alone and nobody could see me. And I was in there, and and it was just like, it was like I heard an audible voice that said, "Get up." And I said, "I lost my son." And he said, "I did too." And I said, "But you got yours back." And he said, "So will you." And that was just like a huge, huge turning point for me, because it was like, okay, get up. And right about that shortly after that, my brother-in-law started having a Bible study at his restaurant. And it was like on Tuesday mornings or something. And I felt like, okay, I'll go. And I went to him and I just sat in there and cried. I learned that you cry whenever you cry. And don't worry about what other people think. If it happens, it happens. I mean, it's real, it's grief, it's terrible. And anyway, started going to this Bible study, and it lasted for just like 2 or 3 months, and then it stopped. And I thought, well, maybe I could start having it at my house. And I still hadn't been able to stop all of my drinking and stuff. And so we started having it on. I thought Friday mornings would be a good time to have it, and because going into the weekend, it wouldn't hurt for me to have a little kick in the pants to start my weekend. And anyway, so on Friday mornings, we started having a Bible study, and there's a big table in my house that had a pool table under it, and it had we built a top for it, and we put the top on it, and that is the Bible study table. And every Friday morning, and now it's been going for more than 10 years now. Every Friday morning, men come and have a Bible study at that table. And the thing about it is that had I not gone through what I went through, that wouldn't have happened. The Bible study gives me a chance to share my testimony, which is testimony about what He has done for me and what He has pulled me from. And, and it's not something that you ever get over. You just get better at dealing with it. My faith increased during that time. Like when something like that happens, you have to decide what's real. This is it. Do you believe what you're saying, or are you just saying what you're saying? And at that point, I realized that, okay, I got to believe and I got to walk what I was saying. One thing also that is such a blessing to me is that my wife and I have been able to survive this together. It's just, I know that it's very common for marriages to not survive this, but Tracy is the best helpmate, and that we got through this together is just it's just a miracle. Because when you let something blow you up, you lose your memories. And to anybody else besides Tracy, Braden is just somebody that I tell stories about, or somebody that they've seen pictures of, and they don't recognize they just don't have the history. And I'm just so blessed to have my wife and to still her be the greatest girl I've ever known. One of the verses that really speaks to me is Isaiah 54:17, which says, No weapon formed against me will prosper. Every tongue that rises against me will be condemned. And this is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. Because depression and losing a child, those are definitely weapons that are definitely formed against me, but they will not prosper. God will get the glory. God will get a victory from those weapons. And it doesn't mean they won't wound you, but they will not succeed.